they're traitors. They committed treason and what was the other and like what
By
was
the way,
and tyranny.
By the way, we're live now, just so you guys know.
And silence.
Okay,
the 3 T's.
We'll stop talking about you know who.
Oh, you mean the cunt?
No, I'm just kidding.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay, what was I doing?
And she didn't even know what the C meant. Quote unquote.
I still think cunt's an acronym.
Yeah, you know what? If she said she didn't know what the C meant, well, why didn't any like fucking comedian throw in like the word cunt? I was like, that would have been funny. I was like, no, they wanted to bow down to the cunt's cankles. Like, oh, Hillary, praise, hail Hillary. Oh, we serve Hillary. We serve the lying racist cunt.
Oh, just on a funny note, aren't all the people that are pushing the Women's March with the convicted murderer on stage and other criminals, and then the same performers and same thing Stevie said there, and I would even bet that there's some of this exact, at least a lot of the people that are doing the organizing, the money, the organizing to pull these people in to what they think. I imagine it's the same group of people on the ground in each area for the most part, or interchange between them. God, what was I getting at? This is just, I'm pretty sure all the donors are the exact same ones that donated to Hillary Clinton.
Fuck, exactly. That I mean, if you really see it that way, it's like, yeah,
it's what it looks like. I mean, I'm Clooney, all the ones Stevie mentioned, I know donated to him or donated to
George
her.
Clooney with the fucking dinners. That pissed me off. That like really fucking.
I mean, you can see this clear criminal organization working in the background.
And did you know, like, George Clooney's wife, Amal Clooney, Amal Abedin, did you know that she represented Julian Assange in the UN for the UN?
You represented who?
Julian Assange.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
who represented Julian Assange?
George Clooney's wife, Amal Abedin.
Was this a long time ago? When was this?
Yeah, this was like a while back before she even married George Clooney. I mean, and no one fucking talks about that.
Hmm.
I mean, that's some that's some information that people
who broke off the lawyer thing. I mean, did Julian Assange fire her ass?
I don't know. Like,
I'd like to know the circumstances of that.
Oh yeah, me too. Like, it's like, there was like, certain things I actually found out.
That would be before WikiLeaks was even a thing. Right?
Let me look that up.
Because I think he's been in that embassy for close to a decade, right?
And you know what?
I don't know the exact time he's been in there, but he's been in there for a fucking long time.
He needs to be fucking set free.
He's technically free right now. He just doesn't know if he'll get shot or abducted. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's like, you're free to go. It's just, we're going to kill you when you step out.
Yeah, it's like, fucking, you're free to walk this direction, but there's a bear trap standing here. Enjoy.
Yeah, he needs a contingent of people who will be there, his bodyguards, and not just that, but like they need to do it where they have multiple people dressed up, in cover, so they don't know which one is Julian Assange.
As long as he's doing what he's doing, I would imagine he needs a defendable island and a bunker. Because they've already openly threatened to drone him. They just don't want to drone a fucking embassy and start a whole bunch of shit.
Yeah, I mean, the safest thing really is surround him with kids, because if they open up on kids just to try to
God, but then you're using kids as bullet shields.
Well, what kind of
then
assholes?
a bunch of human rights activists are gonna get very fucking pissed off.
Well, I mean, that's gonna say, what kind of assholes shoot at somebody with kids around them?
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, but what kind of asshole knows they're gonna get shot at and uses kids as a shield?
Well, the probably the lesser of the assholes.
The lesser of the assholes, they're all assholes. This is just the less option.
Who says, hey, that guy, he's getting protected. He has a bodyguard of kids. And it's like, what? No, and they go, what an asshole. And it's like, should we fire still? They go, yeah. I mean, they're gonna be more assholes.
Well, they bombed a reporter. Maybe not kids. They bombed schools. They bombed hospitals. They bombed, a fucking embassy in the middle of a fucking city in the UK. Yeah, less likely to get bombed.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are assholes. They will kill kids.
Just for the record, we are 5 minutes into the show, and this is how far we've gone with the topic.
Typically, I try to do
the lesser assholes.
Typically, I try to do something light.
We cannot vote for the lesser asshole anymore.
I may, I think there'll be time. We could do. I have something called Dungeon World. Stevie, we can do a Dungeon and Dragons night and start off. It's typically these little missions can be solo missions or a little bit forward, but anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to complete a campaign, I think.
Are you going to be the dungeon master?
Yeah, I'll be the dungeon master.
Are you going to be a sadistic god with a sense of humor?
I don't know. I think I might just follow that'd be
no fun.
The pre-written storyline, just so people can just get used to it really quick. And
I guess. I don't know. Sometimes it can get fun because you can really screw with people.
Yeah.
Make the whole game really entertaining for everybody.
I think eventually we'll get to that point, but I just want people to get their feet wet.
I actually have something that, here's like the correct pronunciation for Amal before she came Amal Clooney, and I'm actually gonna read this. It's Amal Almadine. She was born February 3rd, 1978. Is a Lebanese British barrister at the Dowley Street Chambers, specializing in international law and human rights. Her clients include Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, in his fight against extradition. That's what she did against his extradition. But you know what? Here's the thing that makes absolutely no fucking sense to me whatsoever. Why would George Clooney want to support a guy who his wife Amal represented? Why would George Clooney want to represent Hillary Clinton, the cunt that was gonna drone Julian Assange?
The person that threatened to bomb him.
Yes.
That's like his arch nemesis at this point. Like they
exactly. And he was supposed to be anti-war. However, supported Hillary Clinton hawk that was actually going to go and drone the very guy that Amal.
Who says the wife's views have to be anything the same as Clooney's?
I just say that as a perspective of mine. George Clooney, he's I just have to say that he's brainwashed in this neoliberal bullshit that the way I actually do see it. Why do you think he's so fucking smug?
Well, he profits from it.
Exactly. I was shouldn't that be a conflict of fucking interest, especially the fucking Clooney dinners? I find that shit to be fucking conflict of interest.
You know what? You should look up the C-SPAN things when people reference conflict of interests. They've had people literally admit, yeah, I've gotten paid, I've worked for them, I definitely have a conflict of interest, and it doesn't matter. They've watered that fucking down so goddamn much you wouldn't believe. I mean, they literally, conflict of interest. You can like literally be getting paid to say shit and just lie your ass off, and apparently it's not a conflict of interest.
The Attorney General.
Insane.
The Attorney General here used to lobby for these big pharmaceutical companies, him and his wife. And now, as the Attorney General, he's supposed to be the one prosecuting them. He has sat on this lawsuit for years while they passed tort reform to where these pharmaceutical companies could get out of it. So they could all they have to do is say, well, I mean, we didn't report it, but neither did the firefighters. Are you going to sue the firefighters? You know, are you going to sue the police? Are you going to sue a newborn drug addicted, babies clinic? Like, no, nobody's going to sue them. So they're not going to sue. And that's all they have to do is that those people don't have to pay. I don't know if they have to pay or not, but all they have to do is prove that there's other people culpable to where they don't have to pay the money. That's how it works. So as long as they can point the finger at somebody else, they don't have to pay anything. And that's what he did. He sat on that lawsuit after working for those lobbyists, after making millions of dollars from these people, him and his wife. No conflict of interest there, though.
It's only conflict of interest if you're not part of that club.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Or what about her governor? Governor or representative? I forget which one. The justice guy that is the exact opposite of his name. That literally owns a lot of industries in the area and literally uses the state government in his position of power to loosen the laws and specifically benefit his stuff to enrich himself.
Dude,
that's right.
That's
not a conflict of interest right there.
He's in the office. He's Squidward with the Krabby Patties. And it's just like you walk in. It's like, I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. I mean, it's so obvious. In his inauguration speech, he goes out and says, I'm going to give money to Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan, millions of dollars to them. He said, and this was in a span of like 25 minutes. I can't believe so much stupid shit fell out of his mouth in 25 minutes. It's amazing the rate of stupidity on this man.
Goldman Sachs are a bunch of ball lickers.
And then he goes around and says, well, I want to put money into agriculture, into coal mining, and into timber. All three businesses that he owns. Even he wants to do advertising for tourism. He really wanted to sink a lot of money into that. He owns the hotel and casino.
Yeah.
Where are people going to go if they go on vacation? Oh, geez, I wonder.
Gee, he looks like he's trying to make his private little own feudalism area.
Dude, it's out of control.
Coal mining. He wants to be a coal mining baron, basically.
No,
coal mining, lumber industry, agricultural industry, and there's probably corporations. It might be a subsidiary off of a larger one, possibly, or it's like the amount he's directly just enriching himself. You can boil it down to he's literally stealing from the people. He's stealing from everything. He's exploiting the governmental system. He's just a thief. He's a thief and a liar.
It's also spin. You'll see a lot of people who become a lobbyist or they become a politician and they're coming from a private industry. And then when they're running, they try to steer towards people to get into that industry. So that industry makes a lot more money. And we don't get to see, they can say, look, I don't work for them anymore. They did some great things, right? So we want to get the public going towards them because it's a great solution. And then, and it's bad. That's just the way they spin it. And then, of course, afterwards, when they're done with their political office or their lobbying, you see them get hired by that company. It happens all the time. Sorry.
Joe Manchin, Mylan, and his daughter. Here's the best part about Joe Manchin. I don't know if I mentioned this on the show, but when he was governor, he changed our state motto used to be Wild and Wonderful, West Virginia. He changed it to Open for Business on all of our signs. And so as you're driving, Open for Business. I'm like, you whore. You tone it down just a bit. Yeah, he got so much backlash over that. They had to go and replace all the signs again and put it back to the old motto. But I mean, like they.
Did you say
This guy's a thief to high hell. How hasn't someone just shot him already?
I never heard that.
Say you whore.
Yeah,
That's
well,
great. That's true. He like Joe Manchin is a whore.
I mean, you can't turn a husband to a politician. Well, I guess you can, but you shouldn't.
I mean, like someone shouted the word whore to Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I actually found that shit to be funny.
Oh my God! And when they threw the money at Hillary's motorcade, and oh, that's so sexist. You're equating her to a stripper. Well,
she is. She's
ain't too much different.
She is a prostitute. What are you talking about?
Well, actually, strippers don't give it up. She does. She gives it all up. Like uranium, black people. I mean, just whatever.
Fucking the country, all the Rust Belt, anybody that ever goes to Walmart. She gives it all up.
She's the whore for Wall Street.
She's fucking pretty goddamn awful.
And she's the gold shower girl for them. I'm still not letting that up.
All right, hold on. I'm going to share the screen for what you're talking about, Stevie. I've never heard of this before. There's an article in September 20th, 2007. It says, Wild, Wonderful West Virginia slogan has history dating 1969. It talks a little bit about the history, how it was catchy, how West Virginians felt about the state, and it took off. And then you can see different people, governors just, embracing the name. And then you hear last year, Governor Joe Manchin put up new open for business welcome signs, which proved unpopular with residents.
It's like the nicest. He was unpopular. You can say that.
Yeah, and then it says Manchin now favors
slight inklings to lynch him.
Yeah, now he favors readopting the Wild Wonderful slogan. It's like how he wanted to force something, jump the gun, and then realizes people hate it, and it's like, well, screw the people. And then there's backlash, and then he goes,
that's
okay.
What that fucking cunt did.
Yeah, that's what that march was too. Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all same thing. The actions and behaviors of Jim Justice is basically the exact same actions and behavior of Hillary Clinton, all their donors, huge chunks of both parties and the majority of the government. This is all the same sort of behavior. It's basically thiefism, stealing like crazy, fucking just putting people into horrible positions just to do whatever the fuck you want and meet your goals and your ends and your agenda. You don't care about the country or at all. You don't care about anybody at all. They just want to destroy everything, steal everything, take advantage of it.
Yeah, they're just like fucking corporatist pilgrims. You know what? They're like the pilgrims. You know what? I compare them to the fucking pilgrims. How about that? Yeah, they're treating us like we're Native Americans, and these fucking corporatist pilgrims want to rape and pillage us.
Well, liberal ideology is 3% own and control everything, and everybody else just works for them. That's liberal ideology in a nutshell.
I mean, like these greedy people, right? They're like cancer cells that we just haven't gotten rid of. Like it's just we've never really purged that or done a system to make it any different. So we keep allowing these same people, I mean, to run the same game plan. It's like it's going to keep happening. We're going to keep having reoccurrences of this because it's just we've never fixed the problems. We've never gotten to the root of the cause. And that's why it's so hard, like this is so hard to do because it's not something that we've ever done before. Like, oh, we just got to go and do what we did before. It's like, no, it's like the same problems. That's why it's so hard to make these changes.
I was digging through some stuff and like the first occurrence I can see of any form of gun control whatsoever, where it started at? It started with the 40 acres, a mule on loan, and a gun. That's from what I can tell. That's where any form of gun control in this country started.
Oh,
yeah, that's kind of screwy. I might be wrong on that, but I was like, You know, except for the British thing, but I guess like that was more or less a foreign government. Like but after like the country was formed, like as a nation, any sort of gun laws within it. That's the thing where I can see where it started at. You know, but I mean, the British tried doing the guns are outlawed. Oh, we try to steal all your guns, and then our ancestors ends up killing them all and kicking them out.
Yeah, there's like, you know, the corporatists that want to have like gun control, like, you know,
it's authoritarianism. It's a central control and a dictatorial government that wants to control every aspect of life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's some weird twist between authoritarianism and feudalism and corporatism.
Yeah, it's authoritarian. It's just a means for those in power to remain in power.
It's corporate. It's like corporate moral authoritarianism, the way I actually do see it these days. And and I actually see that, you know, with these like, you know, companies that just want to act like, you know,
like YouTube,
like pseudo social justice,
and like Ebon Strike.
Fuck YouTube. They become like a bunch of corporatist social justice warriors.
Or like Google putting Bitchute stuff into spam.
I gotta see about if I can live stream on DLive on my smartphone, because if I can do that, like I should be able to live stream at 1080p. But whenever I do it through YouTube, I mean, this phone that I have, I mean, it's a great phone. It's Samsung 8. You know, it's mostly recent. They have the Samsung 9 coming out soon, but I mean, it can handle 4K video at like 30 frames per second. And
you need one hell of a data rate for that. I mean, 720 or 1080p is sufficient.
Yeah,
but if you have something like unlimited data, when it's completely unlimited,
I have unlimited data, but it got throttled when I was live streaming.
That's I know what that is. That's specifically if too many people are grouped into one area, the radio transmitter towers will start sectioning off bandwidth.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, but I did do a bandwidth test, and I was getting, of course, like downloads of like 25 megabits per second.
Yeah, it says it's a good read, but the thing is, it's at the tower. It's handling too much in and out at a time. Yeah. How many people were using their phones in that small area?
Yeah, there's probably a lot.
Yeah, that's taxing the system. That's why I'd prefer the distributed fiber optic grid across the country. Mm-hmm. And then you can just do Wi-Fi and telephone things right off of that. It'll be just as fast, if not faster than the radio transmitters. Plus, you're not constantly exposing people to fucking high frequency and high power. You can literally pull power off of that. Yeah. You know, those transmitters put out enough juice to where if you have the proper stuff and you know about it, you can pull power off that. Mm-hmm. And the closer you are, the more you can pull off. I mean, but people are being constantly affected by that. Would you want to be, temporary exposure, not a big deal. Constant 24-hour exposure to high frequency, high energy kind of, that's where it gets, not safe. The lower frequency stuff we've tested for the most part, like with a lot of routers that run anywhere from like 900s to 2.5 or whatever. Plus they're so low power, it barely even matters. You're talking about like taking one of those, basically extending its range to like 100 miles and then sticking like 1,000 volt at 50 amps into it or more. And then, you're talking way more power it's putting out.
So what are your thoughts about 5G that's coming?
I disagree with it. It can be done. Just the fiber optic nationwide, which is already promised and paid for, could completely eliminate the need for any sort of 5G thing at all. It would eliminate the cell phone towers entirely for the nationwide, though, because you could run, there's so much data available on a fiber optic connection. You could do your lower power towers right off fiber grid. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Substantially lower power distributed around the area, and you can constantly, as long as wherever there's anybody living, have the government, just like Rural Electrification Act, run a fucking fiber out there, and then you'll have absolutely all forms of communication at the highest possible speed we have, and it can also enable telephone communications that way, and you wouldn't need gigantic towers to do it with massive amounts of power. And you wouldn't have to steal people's land to do it. You could use the same infrastructure areas, bury it next to the poles or on side of the roads, or, you know, and hang it on the poles and run the fiber to people's houses on the wire, or do a buried line for them. You know, there's a lot of ways to go about this. I mean, but I think that would be the substantially more cost-effective way, more long-term, and just safer in general.
Yeah. I mean, it just seems to be like whenever the good ideas are put out, the people in charge go, you know, that's a horrible idea. We got to spend more money on this stuff so we could get more money back. Right? They don't look at it in terms of things that are better for everyone, that are cheaper, that are cleaner. They just look for they just want big overhead.
That'll last for decades.
Yeah. They want something that lasts for a short time so they can go move on to the new upgrade model where they get more money. They get paid to work on it. Like they could say the upgrade's going to cost like a couple.
In that case, fiber's like top of the line. We're basically at light speed, damn near.
Yeah, but it's not. I don't know what their premise is of how they spin it as. It's not good. It's not useful or something, right? But they never talk about expanding.
That's what we do for across the ocean. There's a fiber optic line ran right across the Atlantic Ocean. Look how much data that transfers. That's massive amounts.
Yeah. Were you there when I showed you that screen of all of that around the world, all these cables going through like just
No, I didn't. I must have missed that.
All right, I'll show you.
That'd be pretty interesting. There's quite a few of them. But they're hundreds of miles long. Do an entire nationwide fiber optic system's a piece of cake. We already got the production for the length. We already got capacity. We already got all the shit to do it. You know, there's nothing standing in the way. And you want to build 5G towers to what? Microwave people? You know, no, that's retarded. Yeah, there's a fucking shit ton of them. Yeah, if we can make cables that long, there's no reason whatsoever we need any sort of towers within the continental United States at all. I mean, we could run all those same wires right where there's, and if anywhere there's power, there's already a right of way. You're muted, Ebon.
Oh, damn it. So that whole time I was just talking. You guys weren't hearing anything.
No, I didn't hear anything. I didn't even realize you were talking because you had the screen up. I couldn't see your, yeah.
Okay, I wonder how long I was doing that. Sorry, I pulled a Joey.
Yep, happens.
But yeah, I mean, we've got undersea cables all the way across the Pacific Ocean, which is crazy.
That's big.
Yeah. I think it might be harder on the West Coast for cables because of just the earthquakes and you know the plate tectonics. The Midwest and the East Coast, dude, we can easily do that because we don't have to worry about that stuff.
We could do it for the majority of the country pretty easily because anywhere there's a power line run to, we could do fiber optics there too.
Yeah. All right, let me see. Oh yeah, BB Hammer. I am an NRA member, but I just became a lifetime member of the Gun Owners of America. So they're kind of like hardcore NRA. They're not as big or well known, but they make no concessions as far as making changes to the Second Amendment or laws against it. So it's like NRA is like Gun Owners America Light.
Got to admit, the NRA does have a lot more of the dealers and things like that joined in it.
Yeah, I'm starting to not like the NRA. They are starting to really, you know, make these little concessions politically, and then just kind of, you know, just appease the people who want gun control, and then you got this entire fight, and then the NRA raises more money, politicians get more money, you know, gun manufacturers get more money, but when you've got Gun Owners America, they take a stance. Nope, you're not going to take away anything
The public has a right to maintain, own, and bear arms.
Mm-hmm. They focus on the shall
and
not
even manufacture.
They focus on the shall not be infringed part of that Second Amendment. So, yeah,
well, I mean,
I know.
It was written like that 300 years ago for a reason.
Yeah.
Shall not be infringed, because you got to think that was like right after the time the British literally tried to confiscate all their shit, take all their guns, and then they killed them all, and then started a country for themselves. You know, so yeah, I can understand. Shall not be infringed. We just had this shit happen. Can you imagine the reaction from these? Like, no, we have to have this in there.
Yeah. But yeah, anyways, like I don't agree with a lot of things the NRA does. But lobbying, if you're gonna lobby for something, I'm gonna stick by with anyone who wants to at the outset protect the rights that we currently have and not give any away that we've already given away that we haven't gotten back. That they
I haven't fucking consent to that, so I haven't gave shit.
Yeah.
And also, along with the consent, you can also say, since the government isn't actually functioning constitutionally according to the actual framework that the Constitution lays down, you could say any decision or ruling or law they've made so far is illegal. Yeah. Constitutionally.
I gotta get going. Okay. My son just got home, but if y'all are still up here in a little bit, I'll join back in.
Okay.
Bye, Stevie.
Take care, Stevie. Bye-bye.
Bye, Stevie. See you later. I might end it once I get a text from my wife, because I want to do a Zoom with my family, but they're still eating dinner. So we try to talk at least once a day. But yeah, it's just, I mean, of the Bill of Rights, of how many that have been kind of taken away from us already, what is it? Well, also if you include like online online part of the First Amendment, they're trying to take that away. And I feel like it's the same point of argument that the people who don't want the Second Amendment is to make, is, you know, that was centuries ago, and they didn't imagine that there would be such a thing called the internet when they're coming out with the First Amendment. You know, that's the same tack that they make with the guns with the Second Amendment. It's like they didn't imagine that there was assault rifles, even though there was a gun that could fire 22 shots in a minute. I mean, they knew that they were all about weapons because they know that they needed an armament to protect themselves against any foreign army or military. But yeah, it's just search and seizure, gathering of your personal data without, you know, a lot of that stuff is we have it in the Constitution, but the governments are allowed to do stuff even though it's against the Constitution to do it.
I'd be like, you know what? I didn't consent to that shit. I'd be like, this is like, you know, I'd be like, you know what? Rape is such a big word. I'd be like, you know what? You're raping my Constitution. I'd be like, you know what? You're like a corporate rapist. You know what? I would call them that, because that's what they're doing. They're raping it away from us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of the things I would like is any corporation that takes government money should be liable to follow under the constitutional rules. For example, Google, if they take any money from the government, they shouldn't be allowed for censorship.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think pretty much all companies within the United States are U.S. entities, and they fall under U.S. law regardless. So you don't even need that argument. They're a fictitious created entity. They're basically a slave entity created under the government. Effectively, that's what you're doing when you start a business, because they give you the right to start a business. Not, you can't start one for yourself and just do it. You have to fill out paperwork.
My business, my rights.
Yeah, I'm just responding to, let's see, Cap Casey. Am I against all gun control? I guess maybe I am now. I think my starting point is I'm starting from the point where if you're going to try to limit the freedoms that people currently have, I'm not for it. I want to keep the freedoms that we currently have, keep the freedoms for the people who are going to still live in the United States in the future, my kids, your kids, whatever. I want to keep the freedoms that we have. The freedoms that we've already given up is just way too much. And all of that is just
without consent of the United States of America citizens.
Mhm.
I did not fucking consent to any of this kind of fucking bullshit that they propagated. So you know what? I would say fuck you to the legislators, fuck you to the failed policies, and fuck them for fucking with our fucking Constitution and our Bill of Rights. So they can go fuck themselves.
Well, what they're doing is literally illegitimate. It makes them, as a government figure, it makes them illegitimate because they're not following the very rules that were set in place to be for government.
Exactly.
All we're taking the rights away from are law-abiding citizens. Law-abiding citizens we're taking the rights away from.
Exactly, and that's fucking stupid. I mean, those people shouldn't be looked up upon. They should be looked as like fucking ivory tower idiots because that's what they fucking act like. They just want to lecture and label people from a fucking moral high ground ivory tower. That's why their arguments are that fucking stupid. Even they say, oh, we're quote unquote smart. We're intelligent. Well, I could tell you this. You're a bunch of fucking babbling ivory tower.
Well, they haven't provided any evidence to prove so.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like it's like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 5. It's more like 1 plus, I don't know, 1 plus question mark equals 6. Therefore, we're going to do 7.
1 plus question mark plus crowd plus clusterfuck plus hostilities equals agenda and control.
Yeah.
And propaganda.
Exactly. It's not easy to follow the logic, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there. It's like an algebra problem somebody specifically wrote to fuck with you.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
It's unsolvable. This is psychotic. This isn't a real thing, and these people are imagining like, no, this is a real question. We have to figure this out logically, but the whole question's just crazy. Like it doesn't. What is it attached to? There's nothing here. You know, that sort of sense.
Yeah, I mean, here's an easy one. Person A wants to kill person B. They have the options of A or 1, a gun, 2, a knife, 3, a drone with the grenade, 4, whatever.
How immediately does he want to kill him?
Yeah, and then it's so how will person A kill person B? You know, it's so what are we gonna do? Is it
if you're a government official, the answer is C. If you're a regular citizen in a highly restrictive psychotic state, it'll probably be the knife. And if you're a lawful gun owner trying to defend yourself, it'll be the gun. I think.
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is what we should be focusing on is how do we stop person A from wanting to kill person B, and maybe
a little less poverty, a little more productivity and growth and development, and a place to live, and maybe a government that isn't psychotic trying to fuck you over. You know anything. Maybe people actually kind of not fall for lies and manipulation so often. You know, something like that, or at least the issue that you're promoting, at least know what it is to a degree. That would be nice for the women's march, for the gun thing, for accuracy
instead of like the inaccuracy of these idiots.
It just doesn't make sense to me, honestly. It's like you go over the numbers. It's like, can we do the single payer healthcare thing? That doesn't sound like a bad idea. that cuts out people that have been robbing from literally everybody. That affects everybody that pays insurance. They'll have that cost cut away. You know, that has a clear rational reason why you'd want to do something like that. Or, I mean, you can do the market version of it, but it's more chaotic and more hectic. And that the Obama thing would have to go entirely to do that. And it would be, at least with the single payer thing, you can effectively set up a system, and then maybe you could transition into a partial market thing if people really wanted to. But I mean, cost wise and just get rid of bullshit wise, that's kind of the better approach. And then when you look at all the gun stuff they want, you know, or it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Like that, one of the laws they put forward, it tried to classify any automatic or semi-automatic pistol as an assault weapon. You know, like that's psychotic. It's like, so basically cops are police enforcers with assault weapons now. You know, like, you know, it's just the terminology, they all twist it. And having clear definitions is thing. They can, oh God, what I wish for if a policy just got boiled down to everything that we want to do related to a single topic at a time gets 5 to 10 pages. You know, and it has to be clearly spoken and written, and not this big pile of fucking loopholes and spaghetti and string tied through it and rider bills attached to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't that be
also sugar-coated shit alongside with it?
Oh yeah, and no more nice sounding names on god awful shit.
Oh yeah, they're stating one thing, but then it's totally doing the opposite. I hate that. So I think I want to kind of answer Dewey Bueno's question, because he supports the right to own arms, but won't support his severely autistic nephew the right to buy a gun. Does that make sense? So Eric, are you autistic? Did you say?
Yes, but like with me, you gotta teach the person it's not a fucking toy. It's there to defend yourself.
Yeah.
It's only a toy at a shooting range.
Hold on.
Well, that's actually, you know, true in a point, but that's like, you know, practice. I mean, practice makes perfect.
Yeah.
But, you know, I would, like, I don't own a gun, but if I ever owned one, I wouldn't use it for anything, any violence whatsoever. But however, I would use the gun out of self-defense. I mean, I would express my First Amendment right before I head to my Second Amendment right, where I protect myself, and I have that right to bear arms. Mm-hmm. I mean, people really need to understand the Constitution. People really need to understand the Bill of Rights. People really need to understand the Constitution. I mean, it's about educating.
So, if there was someone more autistic than you, Eric, would you support their right to own a gun? Do you think
they have a history of stabbing people?
Dewey Brano is saying Eric is highly autistic, severe. I was like, you know what? You know, well, why don't you actually come on instead of hide behind the screen and actually have a good argument instead of hiding behind a screen? Why don't you actually come on screen and actually have the balls of what you have to say? Why don't you actually have a conversation with me instead of hiding behind the screen and saying, "Oh, I'm severely autistic" with this like lecture and labeling bullshit?
I want to say,
come on, bring it on, bitch.
No, he's trying to say
one thing
about his nephew is highly autistic, Eric. And what I'm trying to ask you is, I mean, I don't know how. I mean, there are different levels of autism, but would you? Is it? It doesn't matter if they're autistic at all, very severely. They should still have the right. I mean, it gets to the point.
It's an individual scenario.
Yeah, but it's also, you have the right until unless you are, and then, you know, how are we going to stipulate all these except if, otherwise you're basically free. You know, it's like,
I thought they were talking bad about me.
Oh, no, he wasn't talking bad about you.
Oh,
well, let's put it this way.
Just calm down, dude. Calm down, Eric.
Because I thought you were like, because you like the name, like, it was like, oh my God, you like, I'm the severe autistic one. I was like, no, I'm not. Like with me, yeah, I do get defensive with myself because, you know, with me in general, I defend myself, and I do defend the other rights of other people.
So Dewey, so anyone, if you look on the screen, it says to join and participate. Click on a link in the description box. So in there, in the description box of YouTube, you can go and see that there's a link that'll open up Zoom, install Zoom, or there's a telephone number. It's a toll-free number. You don't have to pay money for it. So,
or there's an app you can use for your phone or tablet.
Yeah,
and it's got the code number. That's the third one.
Yeah, but yeah, Eric just saw a portion of your chat and got carried away. You guys are both good. It's some. That's why. No, I'm not saying hiding behind.
I wouldn't want to take anyone's Second Amendment away because
I'd like to say for Eric, if you look at his room, if he would pan the camera to the right, how he organizes all of his stuff and keeps it neat and tidy. Could you imagine with a gun thing? It would just be he basically almost treat it the same way. You know, basically collected, put in place, out of danger. It's like, look at his behavior. He's not gonna, for the most part, like, look how he treats his stuff. Look, he's not gonna try to misuse it or, that's like you can tell just that So if you had a gun, I wouldn't really be worried about it, unless you started going like, craziness.
Well, anybody can go crazy. You don't know when they're
like super crazy. You'd have to be pretty bad. I mean, come on. As long as he kind of takes a breath anytime he gets hyped up or something. It's like, well, think about it. Okay, is my house broken into? Am I going to be violently harmed if I'm going to or if somebody's going to come after me? Have I actually violated a legitimate law? Do I need to be arrested? Can I defend myself from them or not? What is a lawful arrest? What is an unlawful arrest? I mean, that's why the whole citizen arrest thing is also included in with our laws and shit, right. Because that's it's like acting accordingly. It's like you have your rights so far as you don't violate anyone else's rights.
All right, guys.
And that's when other things come into play.
All right. It's family talk time.
All right.
So Dewey, you can call in next time. I'm going to end the stream just so I could talk to my family. If you guys want, I mean, we'll see who's hosting one tonight. And I could host one later on tonight. Might give us time to just kind of cool off. And
yeah. I mean, that was like really, it was like, whoa.
Yeah. The only time I would really worry about Eric owning a gun is when Hillary Clinton or Debbie Wasserman Schultz is coming to visit.
Oh God! If she showed up in the neighborhood, he'd be like sitting on the porch with his gun, just driving by. Get out of here!
Actually, we can keep the stream going. I'm gonna talk on Skype. So,
but I was actually gonna get off at a couple minutes, but I was actually gonna end on this, like on the last words.
That's why you got assaulted.
No, hold on. This is my wife.
She's funny about that. You got assaulted by a granny.
But
okay, I'm gonna let you go.
Okay, we'll talk later. You want to say one last thing, Eric?
Like I was saying, yeah, I am a defensive about myself, but I'm very, very passionate and strong. I go a little crazy sometimes, but but that's just my that's just that's like there's just this me like with me, I'm very, very passionate when it comes to actually defending, because I mean, like, because with people get put into like groups that like these like have like the media just wants to like label like a certain group to further propagate censorship or taking away people's rights. I'm against that, because like that's like me as like an American citizen. I don't want anyone's rights to be taken away, no matter who the fuck they are. Like with people who are here legally, they shouldn't have their rights taken away due to some failed bullshit policies that just keep failing for the people and keep succeeding for the profiteers that propagate this bullshit. But that's what I'm just all about.
Oh no! All right.
What happened?
No. I'm talking to Skype, but I just wanted you to finish.
I'm sorry.
All right.
But
Thank
anyway,
you,
I'm
everybody.
gonna finish up. Bye, everybody. Like, Dewey, Bueno. You know, I do apologize if I went like a little out there too far. But I would love to have a conversation with you. You know, like to have have this conversation and discussion. I would love to do it sometime.
All right. Thank you for coming
All
on,
right.
Eric.
Bye.
Everybody,
Love you
I'll see
all.
you guys later.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
You too.